Now, from WYDC TV, this is Big Fox News at 10.
The vaccination rate has slowed to a crawl, and health experts say we are nowhere near where we need to be to stop the spread of the Delta variant. That's the most contagious strain of the coronavirus identified so far. And as Britt Conway reports, at this rate, the worst-case scenario predicts thousands of Americans dying every day.
We're going in the wrong direction.
And that direction is up. The rate of new COVID-19 cases continues to rise, but less than 58% of people 12 and up are fully vaccinated. Worst case scenario, if vaccination rates don't improve, 4,000 deaths a day. Could it happen?
I'm not so sure it would be the worst case scenario, but it's not going to be good.
But health experts say it doesn't have to be this way, calling this a pandemic of the unvaccinated.
We can't say anymore, well, it's the old people who are going to die. It's young people now who are coming in very sick.
Preventing the worst case scenario means looking at every possible avenue, every person, to get the unvaccinated off the mark.
What I would really like to see is more and more of the leaders in those areas that are not vaccinating to get out and speak out and encourage people to get vaccinated.
Any of us who are in a position to be able to influence people and to make a message that the vaccine is safe, that it's effective, there were no safety shortcuts in getting this vaccine to the public, that it was built upon decades of research and so far has a very good safety protocol, and that it's very effective and also effective against the Delta variant.
We need friends stepping up and talking to their friends who are unvaccinated.
All right.
I'm Britt Conway reporting.
Perfect. All done.
When it comes to the COVID-19 vaccine, what can and can't employers require from their employees? Mary McGuire spoke to an employment attorney to find out.
Vikings offensive line coach Rick Dennison made headlines after reportedly refusing to get the COVID-19 vaccine, leaving his job in limbo. So, can employers require their workers to get the vaccine? Local employment attorney Greg Simpson says yes.
But if they're working on site in the employer's facility, with some exceptions, employers can require their employees to be vaccinated for the safety of other employees.
Those exceptions need to be well documented and include sincerely held religious beliefs or a medical condition that would make it a burden to get the vaccine. Companies can also require proof, like a vaccination card, but it needs to be kept as a confidential medical record.
If your employer asked you to give proof of a vaccination, would you give it to them?
Absolutely.
And why?
I think that it's important for people to be transparent. This is a public health issue.
I mean, it's definitely an interesting topic, but I do think it's fair in most cases to kind of ask that just so people know how safe they are at work.
But if employees don't get vaccinated, can they be fired? With those religious and medical exceptions I mentioned before, yes again. The U.S. Equal Employment Opportunity Commission enforces federal laws to prevent employment discrimination and recently issued guidance on the matter.
And that means they can fire them if they don't get a vaccination.
The iconic Al's Breakfast in Dinkytown has reopened for dine-in service to vaccinated customers only. So can stores and restaurants require customers to be vaccinated? Well, it's kind of like those no shirts, no shoes, no service signs.
As long as they're not making the distinction based on illegal classifications, they can do that.
But Simpson says it isn't really enforceable.
Say you're trespassing if you come in here and you're not vaccinated, but you can't, enforce that with any, you can't do anything to them.
New York City will soon require vaccinations for all employees. Anyone not vaccinated will have to get COVID-19 tested once a week. Mayor Bill de Blasio announced the mandate starts September 13th.
This is about our recovery. This is about what we need to do to bring back New York City. This is about keeping people safe. This is about making sure our families get through COVID okay. This is about bringing back jobs, you name it.
The vaccine and test mandate starts in August for the some 45,000 employees who work in foster care, shelters, or senior centers. De Blasio says workers who refuse to follow the policy will face consequences. He added that private companies should also consider vaccine requirements. Travel restrictions to the U.S. won't be lifted anytime soon. The White House has decided to keep those restrictions in place due to surging COVID cases caused by the Delta variant. That means most visitors from much of Europe, China, India, Brazil, and other nations are not allowed into the country. The travel industry has been putting pressure on the Biden administration to lift those international travel restrictions. A White House official says while the administration understands the economic concerns, science on COVID variants does not support a safe rollback of the restrictions at this time. New video being released shows the moment when a woman and her baby girl were hit by a car while crossing the street in New York. Now, the force of that crash pushed them into a barber shop where the child became stuck under the car when it broke through the storefront. Tony Aiello has body cam video of the dramatic rescue by local police.
An out-of-control car strikes a woman carrying her baby girl, pushing them through the plate glass and metal entrance of a barber shop. Two Yonkers cops next door at a bagel store hear the crash.
403 headquarters, expedite. We got a baby under the vehicle.
Their body-worn cameras capture the chaos and drama inside the barber shop.
Where's the baby? Where's the baby? Come on. I got it.
And the desperate attempt to reach the 8-month-old baby pinned under the car.
We realized the car couldn't be moved, so we had to get the car off the baby.
Officer Paul Samayedny was with his partner Rocco Fusco,
Look out.
who made like an Olympian, lifting up the car.
The effort he put into lifting up that car was unbelievable. I'm really proud of Rock.
Samayedny moved debris and dropped to the ground to reach the child, injured and covered in motor oil.
Get her out as fast as possible. And I was just happy that she was moving underneath there.
They were just dialed in. It's just professionalism at its best. They're dialed in about just making sure they can get the car up, get the baby out, and get her to safety and get her to an ambulance.
It unfolded on Lake Avenue around 8:30 Friday morning. We've learned cops found a cold open beer in the car. Driver Dave Poncerak, in the blue t-shirt and green shorts, stayed at the scene. He's charged with driving under the influence and vehicular assault.
I'm just happy mom and child are okay.
Samayedny is a father of 4, and yes, they were on his mind as he pulled the little girl to safety.
You can't help but think about them. It's we always talk about at work, guys that don't have kids, and when situations like this happen, they don't know how it kind of hits you a little harder.
I got it. I got the baby.
A tractor trailer in New York crashed early this morning, landing on its side, spilling vegetables everywhere. The crash happened on the Brooklyn-Queens Expressway, and fortunately no one was injured. The mess of yellow and orange is believed to be peppers. The cause of the crash is still under investigation. Wildfires continuing to burn out of control in the western U.S. More than 80 fires have destroyed more than 1 million acres in a dozen states. William LaJeunesse has more.
Have everything packed, everything's ready to go.
Wildfires across the West forcing thousands to evacuate. The Dixie Fire, now the largest in California, destroying more than 190,000 acres north of Sacramento. Merging over the weekend with a smaller fire, officials now say the Dixie is generating its own weather, a challenge for firefighters.
Or the hot gases move very rapidly up, something has to replace those gases. So air rushes in from all around to fill that space, which means we get high winds right at ground level.
Steep canyons and heavy fuels put crews at risk on day 12 of this fire. So far, it has destroyed more than 23 structures and is just 21% contained.
I'm used to hurricanes. Hurricanes are predictable. You can't predict a fire. You don't know where it's going to go.
The Dixie Fire is just one of many fires across the U.S., burning more than 1.4 million acres. With help from surrounding states, crews in Oregon finally have the upper hand over the nation's largest blaze, the Bootleg Fire. Now almost halfway contained, despite intense heat and wind.
This is the most dynamic wildland deployment I've ever been on. We received orders that were simply revised an hour later because of how fast and the widespread growth of the fire.
So 22,000 firefighters are battling flames across the West, raising fears that dry winds forecast this week will stretch resources and put more communities at risk. In Los Angeles, William LaJeunesse, Fox News.
Home prices have shot up over the past year, and the housing boom and bidding wars have also spread into small towns. Grady Trimble is in Indiana with more.
New home sales were down across the country in the month of June compared to May, but specifically in the Midwest, they were up quite a bit, about 5.5%. And perhaps that's because people are moving to places like this, Elkhart, Indiana, which was on the Wall Street Journal and Realtor.com's list of emerging housing markets. Let me show you the top 5 on that list: Billings, Montana, Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, another Indiana city, Fort Wayne, as well as Rapid City, South Dakota, and Raleigh, North Carolina. Marilyn Mauser is a broker here in Elkhart. So why are people seeing this as an appealing place to uproot and move to?
Yes, so it's very affordable here. The median sale price for a home here is $190,000. I think that's a big pull. There are job opportunities here. We are the RV capital of the world, so a lot of job opportunities with the RV surge, the sales that we're seeing. Slower pace of life.
And looking more broadly, obviously it's not just here in Elkhart, but we mentioned several other cities across the country that are sort of small town USA, but people are really picking up and leaving from major metro areas, and you see it all the time.
Yes, I do. Yes, and people can work anywhere now. They can work from home and they can get more space, a yard for their kids to play in, and so yeah, they're moving.
In fact, that's part of the metrics that the Wall Street Journal and Realtor.com used when they were putting together this list, along with the fact that property taxes are lower in more rural places like this. In Elkhart, Indiana, Grady Trimble, Fox Business.
Still ahead tonight, gas station clerks in one state may now be liable for selling fuel to drunk drivers.
We're just going to have to tell our clerks to really be careful, and they're going to have to be more observant.
Why one Supreme Court justice in New Mexico believes the recent ruling could have a rippling effect amongst the auto industry.
Here's your local stock market update from Big Fox. Now, your Twin Tiers forecast from Big Fox.
Tonight's Big Fox forecast is brought to you by William Mattar. Good evening, everyone. It's been a warm start to our week with temperatures surging into the upper 80s, so a little bit warmer than normal, but still not bad. We do have a cold front that will be approaching from Canada. It will slide across the Twin Tiers by the end of the week, and it is promising to bring a little bit cooler conditions and a little bit drier conditions as well. But by tomorrow, it will be located from the Great Lakes region into the North Country, and so we're going to be on the south side of it. So we have one more day where temperatures will be a little bit closer to normal, maybe just a tad warmer than normal, and then cooler air will start to filter in. So these temperatures will be trending cooler for the upcoming days. Our dew points not bad in the upper 50s, still very comfortable, but we are expecting the moisture to increase, so our dew points will be climbing to the 60s. So it may feel a little bit muggy for the next few days, but I'm expecting these dew points to drop again by the end of the week behind that cold front as drier air moves in. So let's take a look at our future radar, where we're finding dry conditions tonight into early tomorrow. But notice around lunchtime there will be a line of thunderstorms that will come through, and our rain chances will continue into the evening. We start to dry out. That's going to be our first round of rain, and then we do have more rain coming early on Wednesday into the afternoon, and there will be a few thunderstorms that will come through as well. And it looks like by 4 o'clock in the morning on Thursday, we're going to start off with wet conditions and then a few more thunderstorms rolling through in the early morning hours, and it looks like scattered showers and thunderstorms by the afternoon on Thursday, right out ahead of that cold front. And then once that cold front sweeps through on Friday morning, it looks like drier air will finally come through by Friday afternoon. But in the meantime, our lows tonight will be around 59 degrees under a mostly clear sky. Highs tomorrow will be around 87 degrees in Corning, 86 in Elmira, a little bit cooler in Perkinsville at 81 degrees. Again, our thunderstorm chances will start in the afternoon and will last into the evening hours. But notice those temperatures will be dropping. Our average high high right now is in the mid-80s, and we're going to drop down into the mid-70s by Thursday with more chances of showers and thunderstorms. 71 degrees are high on Friday. Take a look at those overnight lows in the 40s early on Saturday morning. So it's going to be quite a cool start to the day. We're enjoying some sunshine during the day as well. And then another round of rain comes our way by the end of the weekend with another cold front coming through. And that's going to keep the cool air around. In fact, by Monday, as we dry out, highs will only warm up to around 79 degrees and overnight lows will only drop down into the 50s.
Meteorologists are predicting another heat dome this week that may bring more scorching temperatures to much of the U.S., potentially worsening air quality as smoke and haze from western wildfires continues to spread into the East Coast. So what's causing smoke to travel that far, and what can you do to protect yourself? Mandy Gaither has more in today's Health Minute.
Hazy and smoky skies creating poor air quality on the East Coast. Dozens of large wildfires burning in the west are to blame, generating massive plumes of smoke so large it's visible from space.
When air is warmer than the air around it, it will rise, and when you have a wildfire, it'll carry smoke with it. And once it gets to the higher levels of the atmosphere where the winds are stronger, that can be carried relatively far downstream.
The National Weather Service says particulate matter and all that smoke is generating harmful health effects for people thousands of miles away. For several days, eastern states were trapped in a smoky haze from Philadelphia and New York and even Maine. Some states issuing air quality warnings, urging people to take precautions as meteorologists warn of a heat dome potentially worsening the already dangerous conditions.
Any additional heat waves would not be good news.
Experts say unhealthy air conditions could impact people with heart or breathing issues or anyone doing heavy labor or exercise outdoors.
Particle pollution has been found to impact people's heart and people's lungs.
Now, gas station clerks might be in some trouble too if they sell fuel to a drunk driver. Reporter Shelley Rabondo explains the new opinion from the state Supreme Court.
Gas station clerks have been put on notice by the state's highest court.
The state Supreme Court issued an opinion that said basically a clerk at a gasoline station who sold gasoline to someone who was obviously intoxicated, that clerk, that gas station, that company could be held liable in the chain of people who are responsible for an accident.
But not every Supreme Court justice agrees. One of them warned that this recent ruling could have a rippling effect on the auto industry in the state.
She said, well, wait a minute, this opens up liability to people who sell tires to intoxicated people or people who sell auto parts to intoxicated people. She raises some interesting questions.
Justice Barbara Vigil, who has since retired, wrote this dissenting opinion. In it, she says, vendors of any item that enables DWI, not only gasoline, could now be liable for a customer's DWI-related torts.
They're very concerned about it, just like I am.
Ruben Baca of the New Mexico Petroleum Marketers Association says gas stations were caught off guard.
We're just going to have to tell our clerks to really be careful, and they're going to have to be more observant.
The case stems from a 2011 crash in McKinley County that killed a popular Catholic deacon. According to court records, prior to the crash, the driver had run out of fuel and went to a gas station.
Grieving the loss of a pet? Well, you may be surprised to learn there's a hotline that can help. It's offered by the Cummings School of Veterinary Medicine at Tufts University. And as Matt Reed reports, it's been around a long time.
For the last 25 years, the Cummings School of Veterinary Medicine at Tufts University has been offering a free service for anyone in the country that many have never heard of, a hotline for grieving pet owners.
So people sometimes are really at a loss to even function. I mean, some people are not going to work, they're not eating well, they're tearful all the time, and they're reaching out for help.
The hotline is run by students who make it clear they are not trained therapists or counselors, but are looking to practice their communication skills and learn about the empathy it takes to be a vet, like fourth-year student Megan Hanlon.
I've taken calls from people and had people that I've talked to multiple times.
So this is my dog Tessie. She went missing for 3 hours last year, and I burst into tears when we found her. She's healthy, she's only 3 years old, but I'm already dreading the idea of having to say goodbye to her one day, especially the thought of my son having to say goodbye to his best friend.
We deal a lot with children who've lost an animal. It's usually their first experience with loss and death, and if handled correctly, it can be a really powerful, positive one for them.
While the majority of calls are for dogs and cats, the students hear about all types of animals, and those calls have doubled since the pandemic.
Because of COVID, they were even more isolated, and their pet provided that sense of security and connection.
The Pet Loss Support Hotline is 508-839-7966 and is usually operating during the school year, Monday through Friday from 6 to 9 p.m. And while some pet owners may feel uncomfortable admitting to their friends or family how much the loss of their companion is affecting them, the students here want everyone to know they're here to listen.
You never always know the right thing to say, but people are always just so glad to have somebody that's willing to listen to them, and I would say that is the most important thing, is just letting them talk and work through kind of their grief that they're dealing with.
Domino's is warning customers they may have to wait longer for food. The restaurant says wait times have gone up in certain regions due to staffing problems. To help address the issue, Domino's is raising wages, a tactic that has helped restaurant chains attract employees. The Navy recently paid tribute to a 100-year-old World War II veteran. But this is no ordinary centenarian. She was among the first to join the Navy during World War II. And as Mary Bear reports, the Navy helped her celebrate in style.
How many 100-year-olds do you hear going out in a helicopter flight?
I'm a Black makes a great point. This plucky World War II veteran celebrated her century mark in style.
It was an honor to fly Miss Black and show her the city of Jacksonville from the sky and what we get to see every day. She got a great view because it's the seat that provides the best view out the cabin side door.
They left the door open so I could see. I had to hold the door there.
Was it really windy? Ima's great niece is married to a Navy man serving on the Delbert D. Black and loved seeing her great aunt fly for her 100th birthday.
Unreal. I couldn't do it. I'm a little scared of heights, so she's an amazing woman. She's not scared of anything.
It was exhilarating. I felt like I was going to heaven.
Black got the chance to fly with Mayport Helicopter Maritime Strike Squadron 40, the Air Wolves.
I was looking for my husband, but I guess I didn't go up high enough to see him.
She told the USS Delbert D. Black, her late husband's namesake ship, she wanted to ride in a helicopter for her 100th, and the ship made it happen, working with the Air Wolves to fulfill the wishes of this Navy widow and World War II veteran.
It was very different than riding on an airplane. They left the door open so I could see, and I flew over my ship.
She was piloted around the Mayport area in an MH-60R Seahawk and over her late husband's ship, and then taken to the Delbert D. Black, where the ship's command master chief presented her with a medallion honoring her service in World War II.
On behalf of HSM 40 and all the sailors, thank you so much for being with us today. Wonderful.
Thank you for being such a good fellow. And no bumps.
Wonderful, wonderful.
We want to leave you with a smile tonight. These two cuties are the talk of the town in Fort Worth, Texas right now. The baby giraffes are the newest addition to the Fort Worth Zoo and will live in the African savanna habitat. According to zoo officials, the male calf was born July 1st at about 145 pounds and 6 feet tall. The female born 10 days later, weighing 132 pounds and a little over 5 feet tall. The giraffes took their first steps on Friday. In a social media post, the zoo posted that they don't have names yet, but stay tuned. And listen, they were both born taller than I stand now. From our whole team, thank you for joining us. We hope you have a great night.